The first war between humanity and the stars didn't start with a planetary invasion. It began with an execution. Human diplomatic vessel, the Emissary, was torn apart in the silent vacuum of open space. The faces of its crew, terrified and then extinguished, were broadcast live across every channel in the galaxy. A warning. The message was cold, precise, and utterly terrifying. Humanity is unstable. Humanity adapts too quickly. Humanity must be removed. For centuries, the galaxy had known war. It was a known quantity, a grim calculation of force and counterforce. But it had never known a species like humans. Other civilizations waged war with doctrine, with prediction engines, with overwhelming and beautiful displays of mathematical force. Their conflicts were planned centuries in advance, simulated millions of times, and executed with the sterile perfection of a surgeon's scalpel. Humanity fought differently. Humanity fought like survival was a personal insult. When the Galactic Coalition, a council of ancient and powerful races, declared humanity a Class 7 existential threat, they expected a swift capitulation. They anticipated a logical surrender within weeks, a neat and tidy end to a potential problem. Instead, human fleets scattered across the void. They weren't retreating, they were hunting. Human ships were smaller, less shielded, and certainly not as powerful as the Coalition's majestic dreadnoughts. They didn't outgun the enemy, they outthought them, rewrote tactics in the middle of a firefight, abandoned rigid formations that had been standard for millennia, and used their own ships as sacrificial pawns to create fleeting, deadly openings. They turned unarmed civilian freighters, laden with nothing but ore and ice, into terrifying ambush weapons, luring enemy cruisers into asteroid fields rigged with proximity mines. Alien admirals, beings who had commanded fleets for 1,000 years, began reporting something impossible. Human battle plans were changing faster than the Coalition's most advanced prediction engines could update. The AI models, which had flawlessly forecasted every war for eons, started spitting out nonsense, their logic circuits fried by the sheer beautiful chaos of human desperation. The Coalition fleets fought to preserve territory, to hold lines on a strategic map. Humans fought to break morale. They didn't just target warships, they went for the soft underbelly. Supply lines vanished. Command ships went dark. Communication relays were severed, isolating fleets in a silent, terrifying darkness. The goal was unjust to win battles. It was to make every single victory cost the Coalition so much blood and resources that it felt like a defeat. Entire star systems burned under the fury of this new kind of war, and a new kind of fear began to spread through the Coalition ranks. A fear of close-range combat, because humans impossibly would board enemy ships. Not to capture them, not to seize technology. They boarded to end the fight face-to-face with whatever weapons they could carry. They turned the pristine, orderly corridors of alien warships into brutal close-quarters battlegrounds. The psychological impact was devastating. Coalition soldiers, trained for ranged, sanitized warfare, were now facing an enemy that would look them in the eye as the end came. The war escalated, spiraling out of control. The Coalition, desperate to regain the upper hand, resorted to planetary bombardments. They glassed human colonies from orbit, hoping to shatter human resolve. In response, humanity conducted massive civilian evacuations, turning entire populations into refugees, but refusing to break. Species-wide conscription was declared on dozens of Coalition worlds. The old powers unleashed weapons that had been banned since the dawn of interstellar law, artifacts of unimaginable destruction that tore at the very fabric of space. And humanity responded by doing what they do best. They adapted. Again, human engineers captured enemy weapons in hand, reverse-engineered their principles in days, turning the Coalition's own technology against them. Human tacticians didn't just study alien ship schematics, they studied alien psychology, their art, their history, their fears, and used it all as ammunition. And most terrifying of all, human commanders accepted losses that would have broken the spirit of any other species. They watched entire fleets sacrifice themselves for a single strategic objective, and they kept advancing. The chilling truth finally became clear to the Galactic Coalition. They weren't losing because humans were stronger, or smarter, or even braver. They were losing because humans simply refused to stop. They refused to accept the logic of their own annihilation. As the war reached its horrifying peak, the coalition prepared its final solution. It wasn't a bomb or a plague. It was a reality-level weapon, a device of theoretical physics designed to erase Earth from causality itself. No planet, no history, no humans. A clean, retroactive genocide. There would be no memory of the stubborn apes who dared to reach for the stars. Human intelligence discovered the plan. It was unstoppable. There was no countermeasure, no shield, no way to prevent the weapon's activation, except one. Humanity launched a final galaxy-wide offensive. Not to save Earth. It was too late for that. They launched it to make the galaxy remember. Every single human fleet, from the largest carrier to the smallest scout ship, charged headfirst into coalition space simultaneously. There were no retreat orders issued. No survival projections were calculated. There was only war. Total, absolute, and final. Men, as they fought, human soldiers recorded everything. Their battles, their last words, their deaths. They broadcast these final messages, these testaments of defiance, on every frequency, across every network in the galaxy. They flooded the galactic consciousness with their own ending. When the coalition finally activated the weapon, aimed at the heart of the Sol system, it failed. The weapon fired, functioned perfectly, but it failed in its purpose, because humanity had already spread itself into history. The galaxy had seen them fight. They had heard them die. They had learned what they were willing to endure just to exist. Erasing a planet from space-time could no longer erase the idea of humanity. The seed had been planted in the memory of 1,000,000 worlds. The Galactic Coalition surrendered. It's not because they were defeated in a conventional sense. Their fleets were still vast, their resources still immense. They surrendered because they finally, truly understood. If you can destroy a species that fights to win, you cannot destroy a species that fights simply to endure. The war ended. Humanity did not claim territory. They did not demand tribute or reparations. They made only one demand: remember us. And from that day forward, every military academy in the galaxy, from the core worlds to the outer rim, taught the same indelible lesson: never declare war on humans. Because humans do not fight for conquest. They do not fight for glory. They fight so that no one else ever gets to decide whether they deserve to exist.